as far as like long-term goals and like what's the long-term, like
you kind of told me,
I have no set path. I want to do everything.
Yeah.
I want to make everything. There's no reason why I can't. I also want to help other people when they always say like, somebody puts a hand down, brings you up, then you put your hand down, bring somebody else up, and vice versa. And that's how we create community and how we create relationships and how awesome. We all can win.
Welcome to the Focal Flip Podcast. Every week we take a deep dive into the mystery and stigma behind mental health and explore real-life stories of struggle and triumph. We aim to educate and encourage others as we bring together a diverse group of guests. From the streets to sanctuaries, classrooms to boardrooms, mental health does not discriminate, and neither do we. Prepare to laugh, prepare to cry, prepare to be changed. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Focal Flip Podcast. It's your boy Mike. I got another new episode on season 2. An old friend that has come back into my life now that we are in the entrepreneurial world. This is Nate Nunemaker. Nate, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Thank you for having me on. This is cool. I dig this.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Good, dude. I'm stoked to have you. It's gonna be cool because my listeners and viewers, I love to kind of like weave together all the stories and the relationships and stuff that I have through some of the guests that come on my podcast. So excited to tell them about our connection. So first, I'm going to give you the intro because, man, this is Farmer Nate from Farmer Nate's Hot Sauce. And I actually coached Nate years ago. Yeah. And we were just talking probably about 2006. And it's so fascinating. I just, for everybody that knows, with our new tea company, with North Star, we've been showing up at these farmers markets, and I showed up one day and I heard my name, and he's like, "Hey, Mike," and I'm like, I look over, and Farmer Nate from Nate's Hot Sauce.
20 years ago, or I guess 19 years ago, which is crazy. Yeah. You looked familiar when I saw you, and it just all clicked, came back to me right in that moment. And from there I was like, oh, wow. Yeah.
This is funny. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean,
it's been a great connection. I feel like a totally like a universe God thing, right? So like I feel like it's kind of meant to cross paths again, which was cool. So,
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
That's what kind of what I thought too. Yeah. He said my name, and I look over, and he's like, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I took a double take, and I'm like, he's like, Nate. I'm like, Nate Nunemaker. He's like, yeah.
JV head coach.
Yeah, baby.
And then every once in a while, I'd get to sit on varsity bench, but
that's right, baby.
Because you were assistant coach on varsity, right?
Yeah, I was helping out a little bit there too. Yeah, I was young.
Yeah. Well, to me, at that age, when I thought you were like
old.
Well, not old, but not old, but you know how like when you're younger, you think people in their mid 20s and 30s are old, and now that we're in our 30s, we're like, oh, we're so young.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give this little intro because I like to read, research, do all that kind of stuff. I love branding type things. I love reading about us, parts of people's website pages and stuff. So I thought yours was really cool.
Thank you.
So do you mind if I go ahead and use this as our intro?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. All right. So this is the introduction to Farmer Nate Nunemaker here. Farmer Nate, driven by his lifelong dream of being a homesteader, Farmer Nate is a city boy getting his hands dirty right in the heart of Covington, Kentucky. Born with an unrelenting curiosity, Farmer Nate has always been fueled by his strong work ethic and many passions. As a result of growing in his urban garden, he discovered a new passion for growing hot peppers and creating bold and flavorful sauces and condiments.
Yeah. A little bit that's changed now that we're in 4 years in the business, but that was before AI, like ChatGPT. So that was all from here.
I know, that's awesome. Most of my stuff is original as well.
Yep.
So that's cool. I just thought that was a fascinating
Thank you.
Introduction to use because we're going to kind of weave through your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, awesome.
It's definitely changed, since then. I wouldn't say changed, but more so just grown,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Let's go. All right, we already know. Let's say here real quick. How many stores is Nate's Hot Sauce in right now?
As of today, I don't have a full number, but it's just slightly over 1,000 like brick and mortar stores. And I'll go ahead and announce this now, just because I got the official good to go. But Myers this month, so we're going to be in 16 regional Myers. If we do well there, then we're going to go national.
Let's go, my man. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah, and then we got Publix. We've been in Publix now for about a month or two, and they keep reordering. Home Goods was like our first huge one. That was 920 stores. Jungle Gyms.
Home Goods was 920 stores.
Yeah, it was my first. It was the one that like tested me, like, oh, because I had a phone call with the buyer, and she's like, hey, yeah, do you think you could do? It was like some crazy number, like thousands of units of my taco seasoning, Covington Gold Dust, and I was like, yeah, we could do that, no problem. I wasn't sure if I could do it, but that was the one that like tested me. I called all my friends over. They sat for hours around a table labeling my cans for me, and we made it work. We got trucks in, come and pick it up, and yeah. So even though at the time when they asked if I was able to, supply that amount, I wasn't sure, but I told them I could.
Oh my gosh, you are the perfect guest for my podcast. Where you're like, because inside you're like, I'm not sure that we can do this.
Yeah,
but
all that panic sets in, but you can deep down.
So you said yes, and like let's rise. Amazing.
I have enough support, and I'm grateful for it. But there's so much support in my corner that people aren't going to let me fail. I'm not going to let me fail, but I know people won't let me fail because it's that accountability thing. And no matter how close or not close I am with people, they love watching what we're doing and building, and part of them are also building it with us. So yeah, in the back of my mind, I knew I had a village behind me, and we'd be able to make it happen.
Man,
so
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate
I'm really
it.
proud of you. That's amazing. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we're going to go back to your childhood. I just wanted to lay out the foundation of, where you're at, how we kind of got reacquainted.
Yeah.
And, his product, and he's going to tell you the story, really started to take shape over, COVID. And it's just fascinating when you listen to people's stories about what things change in life, how they change, the time that they change, all those kind of things. And for him, as we sit here right now, I've got Jeff Hatter and I've got North Star Yerba Mate tea. We've got Focal Flip. And, where we want to go with our tea blend is, we want everybody to get super healthy with trying the yerba mate. But that's exactly what we want to do too as we start to grow. So, that requires a ton of work. Mm-hmm. And I want people to understand what goes into it and how it doesn't matter necessarily where you come from or what you've been through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you find in his story, when he starts to peel back to the things that he enjoyed doing and loved doing, ended up being his passion.
Yeah.
And is such created.
Yeah. I should, on the surface, I shouldn't have made it as far as I have. But just that hard work and that, following my passions and dreams. So
it's awesome.
We could talk about that whenever you want.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and get rolling. Let's start us in childhood. I mean, most of my listeners know about my podcast being a mental health podcast where we bridge gaps through education, teach everybody kind of about the tough stuff that we go through in life, and then we normalize it just by having conversations.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, number one, thank you for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Number two, thank you for whatever you're about to share. Okay? Because whatever you're going to share today will carry weight. And the way our method is, we only look to affect one.
Yeah.
We just want to reach one, man.
Yeah. That's how I live my whole life. One person at a time.
I love it.
One day at a time.
I love it.
Yeah. So, so it's, I'll try to condense it as much as I can. So I grew up in a single parent home. My dad left my family when I was like 5 or 6. I had an older sister. She's about 9 years older than me. So by the time I was, getting into elementary school / middle school, she was graduating. So I was essentially a single child. My mom was out working multiple jobs. We were, living we had a house, but my dad was kind of slimy. So he would like sneak in and because he had a key to the house still. So he would like sneak in and steal all of the cash and like money out of my mom's purses and whatever he could find, really, because he was an addict. So at that time,
Okay. How old were you at this time?
so when I found out he was an addict, I was probably 8 or 9, but he had been an addict much longer before that. My mom hid that from me. She kept it from me. There was a lot of other things that I kind of wasn't in the know about. He was abusive to my mom and my sister. Never abusive to me. I've heard him yell and scream at me, but to them, I heard some stories later in life that my mom told me, and at the time, she didn't want me to know any of that was happening. So, she protected me. We were, I guess, on the brink of losing our house, just not a lot of money. Like, obviously, when you have, you're paying a mortgage and all these other bills, it's going to be hard to begin with. But then also when you have some slimy greaseball trying to steal everything from you, it makes it even harder.
It's incredibly challenging.
Yeah. So I credit my mom, honestly, to where I maybe got my work ethic from, because she was working 3 or 4 jobs for me to feed me and my sister. And she didn't even like second guess it. Like, she was out all the time. I remember nights staying at friends' houses or like my aunt's houses, like multiple nights in a row, just because my mom was working like first shift, second shift. She would go home, take a nap, go work third shift. So she was hustling in my favor and in my sister's favor. And I didn't know that was bad, but at the time it was bad. But she did a really good job at not letting me feel that weight or get scared, I guess. And then, my mom was religious, so she always wanted me in a very like Christian school. I went to Calvary for a little bit in elementary. And then my sister's senior year, she went to Heritage. And I would have been in the 5th grade is when they sent me to Heritage, because my mom wanted my sister to be there, just because it was kindergarten through 12th. So like I would see, yeah, exactly. So same building. That way, if anything happened to me, my sister would be there for me, or could be there for me. And
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, so it was.
How much older is your sister?
9 years.
Wow.
So
a pretty good little gap, though.
Yeah. Actually, so I have 2 half brothers, one on my dad's side, one on my mom's side, and my half brother, I want to say, is 15 or 20 years older than me. My mom had me when she was 40. So,
oh really?
Yeah. So she was as pretty much as old as she could be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Respect. You know how old my mom was when she had me?
How old?
39.
39.
Yeah, she was 38, going to be 39.
It's that same. Yeah. My mom had her first kid when she was 16. So. There's that big gap. So,
huge gaps. Yeah. Wow.
But I appreciate it. I think she was a lot wiser. I was
she
the
really
only.
was grinding then.
She was.
If you really think about it, because you were talking about you being 8 or 9 when you kind of found out about it.
So she was in her late 40s, early 50s when, all the stuff with my dad happened. Yeah.
Moms, I'm telling you all.
Oh, you can't beat it. At the time, I didn't realize it, and I was always like, I had this angst against my mom about it. But that's just because, I did grow up without dad, and I grew up in a situation where
mom was probably working a lot.
She's working a lot, and I thought I was supposed to be angry at everybody. So I did deal with a lot of anger, and another thing that like I dealt with is. I was always a little hyperactive, so I kept getting put on all these different medicines, and I went to therapy. Even though maybe I didn't need it at the time, my mom wanted to put me in therapy to, go ahead and be proactive, I guess, in case once I do grow up and I just am mad at everybody or depressed. I think she wanted me to go ahead and just start talking to somebody.
Sure.
It was all religious therapy, so a lot of it was like, oh, you're just not praying hard enough. And at the time, I didn't realize that was weird, right? Like I was like, oh yeah, you're probably right. So I was putting all kinds of different medications in and out of therapy. People always making me feel like there was something not right with me or like wrong with me.
Okay.
So when I got put on 20 different medications, not all at once, but trying this one, it just made me feel like there's something wrong with me, and I didn't see it, but it seems like everyone else around me saw it. So that kind of made me a little little angry in itself and a little jaded. And
what do you think you were most angry at?
I think I was most angry.
Dad or mom? What were you most angry at? Because you got to think about this. If we really hone in here, there's a gap in siblings. Mm-hmm. Mom was older having you. Yeah. Right? My mom was older having me. Right. So that's a whole other thing that only us kind of understand how that part is too. But what do you think it was for you that created the anger? I think because anger turns into resentments, and the resentments is where it starts to get kind of scary, you know?
I think it wasn't one person that made me angry. The anger came from everyone acting like there was something wrong with me. So by putting me on the medications, by sending me to therapy, by, you know, I got not made fun of, but like slightly bullied, and I never really fit in with friends. I was usually by myself playing in the creek.
Black sheep, bro.
Yeah. So I was by myself, and either by myself or, like I said, at my aunt's house or a friend's house. And I don't know. I just always felt like I was the outcast, the one that didn't fit in. There was something wrong with me. So that's how I always felt. And so I grew up with an anger and a resentment. And for a long time, I don't do it now. But for years and years and years and years, I would do things to prove to people that they're wrong about me. I would, I guess just try really hard and do something that no one ever thought I could do. And like to this day, even though I say, chip on my shoulder. And I have learned to use that in a more productive way. But for a long time, my reason was just to prove everybody wrong. And I was just angry, and it took me a long time before I got out of that. Probably late 20s. I'm 34 now, so I really didn't start truly healing, I would say, until I was like 26, 27. Wow. Because I have a crooked mouth. People bullied me about that. Like my teeth don't line up. I have an underbite,
what do you mean by you have a crooked mouth?
So like my bottom jaw shifts. So it's not... Okay. It's not like symmetrically perfect, right? And even actually,
are any of us symmetrically perfect?
But that was like a insecurity, And even just a couple weeks ago, and I laughed at it, but a couple weeks ago, somebody posted on one of my videos and said something about it, and was like, he just made some comments that weren't cool, and I laughed at it at that point, because now, at 34, I'm married, I own a house, I have a business that's succeeding. I know who I am now. The reason why I did, I guess the long way to answer your question is why I got so angry at all these people, and what made me angry was because I didn't know who I was, and I didn't have the confidence in myself, and I didn't believe in myself, right? So it was always insecure, so it made me defensive. But now fearful. When people say that in 34, I kind of just laugh it off, because I'm like, I know who I am. Like, there's things that don't matter to me anymore. Yeah. Things that are important. The important things matter to me. But it's I know who I am. I've done great stuff. I can pretty much outwork anybody in the room. And I will, pretty much 9 out of 10 times, maybe 10 out of 10 times, will beat you if I want to. And
I love it. I love the mentality, brother.
Yeah. And, and when I do lose, I don't feel embarrassed. It's a learning lesson, right? Yeah. It's how you get better, because I've lost a lot in my life. This is the first time, probably the last 8 years in life, it's the first time I've ever felt like I have been winning constantly. Don't get me wrong, I still have like the little things, right? And like everybody does. Everybody
you don't
does.
Even have to explain that part. We get it.
Yeah. So in about 5th grade, me and my mom, she took me out of school because I had strep throat. So I went to the doctor, and on the way back from the doctor, she stopped at McDonald's, because that was like our thing, right? Like, if you're sick, I'll get you McDonald's, whatever.
Yeah, it's like our little treat.
Yeah. And then I was, we were driving. I was laying in the passenger seat. I had the seat down. And before I knew it, we got in a car wreck, and I had slammed my head on the windshield. So we were going straight.
Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Lay this out one more time.
Yeah.
So you're in a car. How old were you again?
I was 5th grade, so whatever that is.
Yeah, 5th grade elementary school.
12, 13, something like that.
No, you're about 11.
11. Yeah. So I was still pretty young, right? Yeah. I was at Heritage, and we were going down Limaberg Road, which is in Burlington, Hebron-ish. Yeah. And there is Limaberg. There is this turn. It turns left into, like, I guess doctor's offices or some sort of like offices, and the car coming the other way has like a little hill, right? So you can't really see that. And we were coming over that hill, and somebody had turned, and we were probably going 40, 45, 50, and we just T-boned the heck out of them. And I didn't have a seatbelt on because I was laying back. So I got flung up and hit my head, and it was kind of a daze on the moment. My mom was alive, but she had broken like every rib in her body. She had bruises and I think they're called hematomas all over her. She suffered a lot, which, at the time, obviously a traumatic tragedy. But because of that car wreck, everyone was okay. I were able to leave the hospital that same night. My mom was in there for a couple of days afterwards. But because of that, at the time, Kentucky was not a no-fault state. So we were able to claim from that person's insurance, and it was the reason that my mom was able to, that we were able to get out of the situation that we were. My mom was, with that money that she received, was able to buy a nice new house. I had some money that I couldn't touch until I was 18. Not a lot. Mine was like $10K, but my mom got a lot of money.
So
and
you were okay.
I was okay. Yeah. So I think they think that like I got some brain trauma, because after that I developed a little bit of a motor tic. So like sometimes I'll like blink too much, or I'll make a noise in the back of my throat, or like every once in a while, and it was real bad in high school. I don't do this one as much, but like twitch my head a lot. And it's like a nervous tick.
I smile because I have a couple of ticks.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I just do have a couple of different ticks.
And that was another thing at the time that made me feel insecure. I fidget all the time. Yeah.
I used to get made fun of for a wiggle.
Yeah. Heritage. At Heritage, I had a lot of people make fun of me, and I don't think they were being mean as much as they just have never seen it before, like experienced somebody.
Do you think they knew they were being mean?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it was just because they've never seen anybody twitch their head, in a series of, 10, 20, 30 twitches in, just a couple of seconds. I just don't think they've never seen that before. And I think that it kind of just threw them off and probably made them feel awkward. So they probably just tried to find a way to like line it up. But when you're that age, you get offended by it, right?
Heck you do.
Yeah,
100% you do. Like,
so that car wreck helped us.
You get offended by it. You become defensive.
I still am sensitive in ways, but I used to be very sensitive. And like I said, that kind of changed once I found out who I truly was.
Sure.
And I had confidence in myself.
Oh man, I am so freaking proud of you.
Thank you.
You know what's irritating me the more I sit here and listen to you talk is the thing with your jaw. I'm like, bro, are you serious?
So look, when I smile, you can see it.
But look, people probably make fun of mine. Like when I smile, I have a half smile.
You look great. It could be one of those things too, like,
you know what I mean?
Kind of like hearing yourself on a phone call, like you just get weird.
I would have never really looked at you and been like, yeah, let's talk about that jaw right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I've learned to, not take it serious.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We were just talking before the episode, like, comments and stuff. You just can't. You don't want to be getting into the comments.
And I think that goes back. Even if I do read them sometimes, and 99% of the time they're awesome. They're people believing in me, pushing me. But and it was weird too, because the comment I got about my jaw a couple weeks ago was in the middle of the night. And I had like woke up to grab some drink of water or something. And I saw that and I was like, what the hell? But no, I just laughed it off because first of all, that profile didn't have a picture on it. So I don't know if it was somebody that just made the Instagram like that knew me, or if it's just some random person that found me, right? But like, it is amazing what changes when you take the time to dig deep and find out who you truly are. And I had ignored it most of my life between my dad leaving, the car wreck, the twitches. I didn't know how to, I guess, heal from any of that, right? And then also at the same time, I was in church going through some religious trauma, just being like, pray harder, you're not doing that. And like, a lot of that, it was really hard to figure out who I was in that time.
Yeah. Did you feel like you just couldn't be righteous enough? Like, where it's like, I'm constantly having to pray harder, and I'm constantly having to ask for forgiveness. And I'm constantly.
Yeah. I felt like I couldn't do anything right at all.
That's how I felt for a while.
I felt, and
it wasn't anybody's fault necessarily, but that's just kind of what I felt in general, where I'm like, I'm constantly sinning. I'm constantly having to ask for forgiveness, but I'm constantly pursuing righteousness, but I'm constantly not attaining it.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah.
So,
that's not even just religious, but in general, I just felt like nothing I did was right. I got all D-minuses in high school. I probably shouldn't say this, but the only reason I was able to graduate from Heritage is because Mr. Davis didn't want me in his school anymore. So he was like, write a research paper. We'll figure it out. I passed on the research paper. I actually had my sister write it. And he passed me, and I shouldn't have. If I went to a public school, I would have failed and had to get what's the degree when you drop out?
GED?
Yeah, GED. Yeah. I probably would have had to do that. I probably should have. And I sucked at school, not because I'm dumb, but I just didn't care. When I was younger, I always knew that I wanted more out of my life. I didn't want to just be like an office job or a doctor, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying just because doctors, we need them, right? Office people, we need them. Like, it just wasn't me. I'm a very creative person. I have visions in my head all the time. I'm always like living in a story. I'm always, telling stories, and my brain's just different, right? And I just thought it was going to be more than what anything that Heritage could have taught me.
Yeah. So what did you like then?
I liked music, so I played in a band my senior year up until about 2020, I guess, is when I left the band. Okay. I liked music. I liked videography, photography, anything that was just different and not, done by the masses. And, I never went to college. So here, I'll rewind a little bit. So after the car wreck, and then that's when I entered like 7th and 8th grade. That's when I met you. You were my basketball coach. Mr. Alford was there as well. Even then, like during basketball, I sucked. So like I always just felt like, again, the black sheep, right? The underdog. At that time, my dad had gone way deeper into addiction. He started using heroin. Him and his brother, my uncle, my dad and my uncle had both left their wives, and they both ended up living together with their mom, my grandma, doing a lot, doing drugs and just kind of existing, living off the government, whatever. And when I was 15, I had went to Grenada because Heritage would have those missions trips to Grenada. So it was my first year I went. It was the year that I came back, and I was pumped because I felt like a new, fresh air and breath of life into me, right?
Yeah, it's how I felt after I got back from Haiti.
Yeah, it's
new lens.
Because you just like see, things that
a lot
that you don't have to experience, and you feel grateful and you feel just good, and it's just a refresh. And at that time, I came back and I was pumped. I bought my father a little gift, and my father didn't pick me up too much at the time because I didn't drive. So because I was 15, 14, 13. So he would have to come get me, and his custody was every other weekend. But most of the time he wouldn't be able to come get me because he got too high. He was loaded. And there were a couple times that he did pick me up, and because he lived in Ohio, and where he was picking me up from was in Union, Kentucky. So he lived in a small town called Utopia, Ohio. It's past New Richmond, out there, probably like an hour and a half along the Ohio River. And there was one time he was too done. I don't know if he was drunk. I don't know if it was a mixture of things, but basically we had to pull over at Frisch's. He bought me food, and then I had to drive us all the way from there to my grandma's house, my dad's mom's house. It was dark, first time ever driving, but we did it. We got there, and it was just the atmosphere around there. It was just, my dad and my uncle were always just super slow, and I knew what was going on, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like think about that. Like I still wanted to try to have a relationship with my dad.
Yeah, that's cool.
I wasn't mad at him. I made the effort, but he would only pick me up probably like once a month, once every other month. And then he would give me this sob story, right? So like when I came back from Grenada, I felt very forgiving, and I felt very like it's okay, that this has all happened, and it's okay that you have done what you've done to me and my family. I forgive you because I want to have a relationship with you. And then it was about a couple days after I got back from Grenada, and I wanted to go see him to like let him know all of that. And I was in school that day, and Mr. Davis called me down to the office, and I had assumed that I did something wrong. I was always getting in trouble, so I was getting into detention all the time. And when I walked into the office, I saw my mom and my sister, and I immediately knew that my dad had died, just by looking at them. And my sister's tough.
Okay.
Yeah. So my sister,
This was right after you got back from Grenada?
like 3 days, like the week of school. And I had just got back, I guess, like that weekend or the end of the week before. So it was just a couple days. Like I hadn't gotten to talk to my dad, see my dad. But I was prepping, literally thinking about when I was going to be able to see him so I can like give him what I bought for him, the souvenir,
Wow,
and everything. So yeah.
It's pretty powerful stuff. Wow.
Yeah. So
I can only imagine what that feeling for you inside was like.
it was tough for sure.
100%.
I didn't, we could talk about it. But
all that tussle for so long.
yeah.
And then, going to a third world country and getting exposed to that, and then coming back with a new lens and gratitude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I did.
Very admirable what you did, my friend.
Thank you.
Just that act in general.
Yeah.
Just in that you planning on doing that, and absolutely.
Yeah.
That is not easy to do.
No, it was.
People, if you all haven't had to do this, or you haven't chose to do this, it's one of the most difficult things.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you've had a lot of trauma and a lot of frustrations, but then I don't know. Then
just like forgiving people and having to forgive, and not even having to, but wanting to, right?
Yeah, I think it's wanting to.
Wanting
I think
to,
we always can do the act of forgiveness, but if it's not genuinely forgiveness, it's not like it's.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Because I can say, I forgive you on some things, but it's that I don't forget.
Yeah.
And sometimes not forgetting cuts deep.
It cut deep for me in that situation, and I specifically was mad at my dad and held on that anger after he died. I was pissed. I was angry at him. I got to the office, saw my mom, and no one said anything. I just knew. And then my mom bursted out in tears, and my sister grabbed me and like held me. And then Mr. Davis, what really changed my opinion about him is he held me. He felt like a male figure in my life, right? And he truly was there, and he just held me, and he just hugged me, and he let me cry all over him. And my dad wasn't officially dead when they brought me in, but he was in he had overdosed on like 4 different drugs. There was methamphetamine in his system, there's heroin, fentanyl wasn't a thing back then. So
Probably wasn't.
I can't remember what the report said, but there was a lot in his system.
Probably had some benzos in there.
There was a couple of things I was surprised about when my sister read me the report. But yeah, Mr. Davis drove me to the hospital in Cincinnati, and he left, being a principal at his school to take me to the hospital to see my dad. Because I didn't want to be around my mom and my sister. It felt like too much, right? So like having him drive me, I just felt like it just felt different. So I got there, and my dad was pretty much completely brain dead. He was living off life support. He was not responsive, but he had a heartbeat, essentially, is all he was. He was a heartbeat. And my sister told me, you know, he can hear you, but he can't respond. Whether that's true, I don't know. But I, you know, believed her at the time and just told him I loved him. And so here's where the messed up part is since my sister at that time was married, my dad's son was not around for like X amount of years. So I was the most recent, or like the closest sibling, I guess, or not sibling, but like son of him. I can't remember what it's called. There's like a term for it, but basically I had to make the decision to pull the plug or to keep him on life support with 0.001% chance of him coming back together. So I had to make that decision because I was like his closest living kin or something like that. So after a while, that was a lot of pressure to make that decision at 15 years old. But you know, I knew I talked to my sister, my mom, and then my half brother, my dad's son. He's a piece of crap. He's trash too. And I say that in a loving way, I guess, but like, I'm not trying to be a jerk to him, but like he's on heroin now too. But he came in, he never saw my dad. He never tried with my father, but when he found out my father died, he came to the hospital, and the first thing he mentioned was talking about his will and what Doug, my dad, left over and what is he gonna get. So yeah, that's like that's the cuts very deep. Yeah, that's the first and last time I saw my half brother. And still to this day, every once in a while he's in jail now, but he'll call me or like find me on Facebook and ask for a ride or ask for money. And but he's struggling with addiction himself too. So
yeah, buddy,
it runs in my family. Addiction does.
And that's the thing. It's like, you know, I was an addict, alcoholic myself, and I work with them. And then I think a lot of folks don't understand how much pain gets dished out from families that have to deal with addiction.
Yeah.
And alcoholism, because it affects everybody.
Everybody.
And like for you, even in just the way that you're speaking now, like I can feel like the pain in your voice and stuff too. And that's what's so unique, that every individual person has separate trauma.
Yeah.
And like for, you know, I've said this in other episodes, but for example, you know, there are things that are, you know, one event that could be more traumatic for you than it would be for me.
Right.
You know,
we all handle it different.
We do. We all handle it different. And that's where, you know, I always say we have to peel the onion and carve things away to see what's really wrong, like what's really going on. Like we always have to look deeper. Yeah. You know, and that's where that anger and that pain and that frustration comes from.
It's easy to not want to look deeper too as a human. It's just not something we think about, right? Yeah. Like it takes effort to have a decent life, like it, and to forgive people and to deal with trauma. And so like, because of all of that, I didn't know how to properly deal with my trauma. So I quit basketball. I quit all sports. I would not go to therapy. My grades dropped even more. I don't know. They were bad, but they got worse once my dad died.
Would you say you were very closed-minded during all this because of your frustrations and anger? Because in my opinion, I see how talented you are today.
Yeah, I would say I was closed-minded.
Yeah, I think I was frustrated. You were very
I had
angry.
no motive anymore, and like I was just kind of like, well,
what is this all even for?
What is it? Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so I would say it definitely closed-minded, and I wouldn't try things to heal. I wouldn't try to get better. I didn't, to be honest, at the time in my life, I didn't think I would live to see 19 or 20. I was just assuming the worst. I was assuming that I'd die, whether, you know, by myself, or just some other dumb, maybe like drunken accident, or just doing something kind of reckless. Like I had no value of living, and I didn't care about anything. So like I did a bunch of dumb stuff, and I didn't care about my well-being. Yeah. And here I am.
Okay. Yeah. So let's keep going here.
Yeah. To add on to all of that, just a year or so later, a friend of mine had killed himself. A close friend. It was a big deal because his family, it was Isaac Keller. And we hung out all the time, not all the time, but we hung out often. And I just never saw any signs. And so by the time my dad died, I had experienced death of a close person. And so just adding all of those, not all, but those two deaths, just like pretty close together at the age of 15 or 14, 15, 16, whatever it was. I believe Isaac died when I was 14 and my dad died when I was 15. But, my brain's not even close to being developed. It's my frontal lobe, like nothing is developed. And so with all that trauma and not getting the proper help, it just snowballed downhill essentially. So I kind of just moseyed on through life and just kind of did the bare minimum. I quit sports. Like I said, I didn't really I had a couple friends, but we would always just like drink or smoke weed and just try to get into like, see what we can find, chasing a high. And, I wasn't really, it was just, I did that because I experimented to figure out some sort of way to make myself numb to everything. Cause I didn't want to feel emotions. And
you clearly didn't.
Yeah, I didn't want to feel.
So what changed? What happened? When did this?
It takes a long time before we change. So I'll make it quick so we can like push through a little bit because there's a lot. So life goes on. I graduate high school barely. A couple years after my dad died. Didn't want to go to college, so I played in a band. Started doing that. At the time, I was still struggling. I still had a lot of emotional and mental trauma. And then my uncle died. My dad's brother died from the same way. He ended up overdosing. And I remember going to see my cousin in the hospital, and it just was like a flashback, right? Like he looked exactly like my dad. He had the tube in his mouth. He was on life support. He wasn't responsive. So it definitely did trigger me. And but I had a bunch of different jobs. I did a bunch of different things, and I worked for Tina Herbst at MedCare, her husband was my science teacher. He was the only teacher in high school that I felt like that believed in me. And he would take me out, after school and I'd go cut his grass or whatever. And he'd have me like pay me to go do like small tasks. And I got to like really learn from him. And, he really like instilled a sort of confidence. Him and then Ray Arnold. I don't know if you remember.
I do know Ray.
Yeah. So shout out Ray. Yeah. Shout out Ray. I'll send him this episode when it's out. But shout out Ray.
He's hit me up some online too. I'll reconnect.
He's a good man. He's somebody.
With him. He's a good one.
He's somebody that has gone through it too and still keeps getting up off the mat. And, he's messed up. He's had shit thrown at him. Sorry, I don't know if can I cuss?
No, you're going to.
Okay.
No, it's terrible. Look, I love how you just said that. And then
I didn't think about it.
Everything was just.
No, I've been trying
to.
You
can cuss, man. It's all right.
Well, I didn't know if children watch.
Yeah, they do. But like, you don't have to change who you are. Okay. We just have to teach the kids. And kind of protect them a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. So I won't worry about that then. Sometimes it just comes out.
I appreciate how concerned you were about that though. Like that tells me how much you respect it.
Yeah, so, I do. I'm in your house. I'm on your ground, and I'm not trying to, do anything that you don't, appreciate or respect.
I want you to be the raw, real Nate that I've known this whole time, man.
Sweet. But then I will not try to focus on censoring myself. But no, Ray's been through a lot. He's done a lot of wrong. But the cool thing I love about Ray is when he messes up, he learns from his stuff and he keeps going. And he keeps trying. He knows what's valuable to him. He knows his family's valuable to him. He knows the church and friends are valuable to him. So he isn't afraid to be like, I messed up. But he's always bettering himself. And Ray was the first, I guess, true male figure in my life. And I would go to his house a lot. I'd hang out with him after school in the church, and while he would be preparing, sermons or whatever for the youth group because he was
For
a youth pastor.
minister.
And I wouldn't say like a father figure, but he was like a big brother figure. And at the time, he has kids. Mia was just a baby, and then a couple of years later, Max. So like I felt very a part of his family. So like he taught me a lot about just fighting and being a fighter and just not giving up. And we're still good friends to this day. I didn't really value myself or anybody, so like I was, I just chased what was like that thrill, right? The high, yeah. I had some friends that we just weren't good for each other. We encouraged each other to not do good things, and we were always, but got in a lot of fights, a bunch of stuff, really. Like they're just the normal story, right? Just like not really caring. And then Austin Dunbar, another shout out. He owns Durham Brand and Company. His father-in-law, so his wife's father, is the head pastor at Christ Chapel, which at the time I was going to. And I had heard a lot about Austin. He owns Durham Brand and Company, which is a design agency. He does a lot of big beer brands. He does a lot of, he's just a great artist, it's really gritty. It's very, not perfect, which I've always loved. And so I had actually lived above his studio when I lived in Covington. So I would just go hang out with him and learn. And because at the time I was like playing around with video and photo. So I was just hanging out with him and learning from him, and he was cool. And we'd go, to Braxton or whatever, because that had just opened, and just riff over a beer. And we decided there's a commercial space below. So like my apartment, his studio, and then an empty commercial space. And I was like, why don't you make like a clothing store? He loved it. And I was like, I'll quit my job at Medcare right now. If we could do this, I'll work for you, running the store. That way you can hang out up here, do all your designing, and also clothes downstairs. And he was cool with it. And I would say that's probably where the change started happening. I started feeling valuable. I started feeling like I had maybe something to offer, even though I wasn't 100% sure what that was. Austin made me feel, valued. And so I think that's where like maybe the change in my life started. Once somebody, and like, don't get me wrong, like Ray and all these other guys, they made me feel valued.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's always weird when you're kind of trying to talk about the tough stuff and then you're like trying not to discredit.
No, credit to everyone I've made drops, but like
they all know that. We're just weaving through the story.
Yeah. And I'm not great at like
you're good. That's
keeping in line. Yeah. But yeah, so I started doing that, and I started laying my creative side come out a little bit, and I felt really inspired by Austin, and he wasn't too much older than me, but he was like old enough to where he felt like another big brother to me. Fast forward, I'm still healing. I'm not in therapy. I'm not grateful for anything still, but I do feel valued. And then the clothing shop shut down. And Austin still did design. So I went back to Medcare. At the time I had met.
What year was this?
This was 2014.
Okay.
I think 14, 15. So it was 14, 15, 16, 3 years. And right when the clothing shop shut down, I had met my now wife. And
what is your lovely wife's name?
Her name is Natalie.
Shout out Natalie.
Yeah, she's great. I'll get to it. But so we were hanging out, and she didn't really want to date. She had just moved back home recently. She was out working in South Carolina, North Carolina, one of the Carolinas. Yeah. She's going to be mad if I don't remember, but we'll talk about that later. No, so she had just got back, and her sibling was a friend of ours. So her sibling came to my band's shows, and they brought my wife, Natalie. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, you're the one. Like, you're beautiful. I want to marry you. So I started hanging out with her, and she was like, I just want to be friends right now. I just moved back, blah, blah, blah. And I was cool with it. But then I just got tired of it.
I was cool with it, but not really.
No, like I was cool with it. It was a great friendship. And at the time, like my roommate was great.
Now.
I did. And so because of that, because I felt like it took a while, and I started seeing other girls again. And I missed her birthday, Natalie's birthday, and she got very upset. And there was one other girl I was like playing, like messing with, and when I was with her, it was just not the same as when I was with Natalie. Mm-hmm. And so I had to cut off that girl. And you know, I'm sure I hurt her feelings. But you know, it did not feel right. Like my gut always is right. And when I feel it in my gut, I know that I have to follow that. And so, I went back, called Natalie, and was like, hey, I'm sorry, blah, blah. And we ended up working out and dating. And that became, I had moved. Sorry, I'm trying to like not get too all over the place. So we were still hanging out, or like when we were dating, we were still at my apartment in Covington. I was working in Florence at Medcare for the second time. I got a position where I was a manager at the time. Something I want to say though is my whole life, no matter how ungrateful I've been in the past, I have always felt favored. Whether that's favored by God or favored by people, I just feel like people always just want to see me win and have the most. And I felt that when I went back to Medcare. I felt that when I was working for Austin. I felt that pretty much every position, to the point like where when I was at Medcare, there was other employees that were like mad at me because they thought I was like, sucking up to them, and they got, a little jealous or angry or whatever. They thought that it was just all fake and like, oh, you're only a manager because they like you and blah, blah, blah. I've always felt favored. And so I got that manager position. Ended up quitting, and my wife was not happy about it. Actually, I got let go of, but she wasn't happy about that. So I just like scrambled to get a job at TQL for like 2 weeks. I walked out of it because I was miserable. I literally thought I was going to kill myself. I got that low. And again, it's all of that, like that trauma coming back, thinking that like, okay, why am I here? Like, I'm not good at anything. Like everything I do, I try, and it never works out. And so I had to get out of there. And the very next day after I walked out, my buddy who I met while working for Austin Dunbar, his name's Jeremy Kramer. He's an amazing photographer, best photographer in the city. He does everything from small businesses, huge brands, models. He knows that I kind of did some assisting work in the past for like video and photo, just like freelance. And he messaged me and was like, hey, I need a full-time assistant. And it just felt like such a like perfect timing thing, right? Like I took the leap by, the risk, the unsure risk that, I'm going to quit TQL. I don't know what I'm going to do, but something's going to work out. I got that text from him the next day, and I started a week later, and I learned so much from him as well. He let me kind of be, free to like do video, and I shot, 4 or 5 music videos with him. And he made me again feel valuable. So I would say that what changed was a long series of people pouring into me. And
there we go.
Yeah, and that's what changed is I felt valuable by Jeremy Kramer. I felt valued by Austin Dunbar. I felt valued by Tina Herbst. I felt valued by Ray. These people that kind of took the extra step to like make me feel valued, and I never had experienced it anywhere else prior to that.
That's awesome.
And then actually I worked for Jeremy until 2023. I had started Farmer Nate's from the pandemic.
Yeah, hold on, here we go. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm ready to do.
Right.
Let's do the pandemic real quick.
Yeah. So
here we go. The pandemic comes and he starts Farmer Nate's. Tell us the story.
Yeah. So I'm working with Jeremy Kramer. We get shut down. we weren't considered to be
Essential.
Yeah. So we shut down. We had work every once in a while, but it wasn't enough to keep the lights on. So I have always, again, I said this earlier, but like I always tell stories in my head. I'm a dreamer. Like I see things up here, and I just can't explain it other than like I just see things, right? Like and it might be like just me being like, romantic, like in my head, or like dramatic, whatever. But like my brain is like a movie all the time. And I've always wanted to live in the movie where I am on a farm, somewhere in the mountains, a couple acres, and just homesteading self-sufficiently. Wanted to grow my own food, and that's what I did. I went to the hardware store, bought some seeds. I had no clue. I've never done it before. I never grew anything. Bought some like corn seeds, cucumber, jalapeño, habaneros, a couple other seeds, and my peppers grew like crazy. And I was like, okay, well now I grew these. I don't even know what am I going to do with them. It's not like I didn't at the time. I didn't necessarily love hot peppers. They were good, but it's not. I wasn't one of those like people that just sit and go through them.
Right.
So I just did some Googling, and I was like, hey, what's a good way to preserve them? Should I can them? Should I whatever. And hot sauce was the option. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. So I have no chef background. So I didn't even look up a recipe. I just threw a bunch of stuff in a pot, some vinegar, and the first one was bad. But then I started, getting it and fixing it and tweaking it. And I would give it to my friends and family as just like gifts. And they liked it. I don't know at the time if they were just telling me they liked it because they didn't want to hurt my feelings, or, if they actually truly did. But either way, whether they did or not, I still was delusional enough to be like, okay, I'm going to do it. And because I come from a family with addiction in the genes, I don't do anything just halfway. Like if I'm going to do something, I'm, all the way, right? Yeah, it. Yeah, you understand that for sure. So I am fortunate, and a lot of my really close friends. It's a wild story when I start talking about it out loud. But
dude, you positive self-talk.
Yeah,
manifest it yourself.
Yeah, I believe in manifestation too.
Same.
Yeah, you have to. It's speaking life into things, But yeah, I'm fortunate, and because I hung out with, worked for Jeremy Alston, played in a band, was around all these creative people. Most of my really good friends were all graphic design majors. I did photography, so like I knew how to do that. But I texted, it was Zach Gardy, I think is his name. He worked for Cincinnati Magazine at the time, and he would hire me and Jeremy to do a lot of shoots. He was an illustrator, graphic designer. And I asked him, I gave him my like vision in my head, because I can see it up here, but I can't put it on paper. Yeah. I can't draw it, right? And he built me a brand. And I loved it. It just felt classic. I wanted it to be a brand where it felt like it's been around for 100 years. I wanted it because hot sauce is really easy to get gimmicky with it, right? Like to, silly names.
Your branding is on point.
Thank you. I should have brought, I don't know why I didn't bring any bottles,
right.
but
we're going to be collabing a lot, so it's all good. This is just the first.
Yeah. No, so I never liked the cheesy side of like hot sauce, right? Like the Satan Sweat name and all that. So like I was really inspired by bourbon. I was a big bourbon guy at the time. Collected a bunch of really nice bourbon bottles. Yeah, I drank a lot of bourbon.
Dude, brother, I love bourbon.
Oh my gosh.
Love me.
I don't get the people, I collected it, but I drank it, all my collections. So like I don't get the people that just sit around forever, like flippers. That's not really my thing. I just loved it. I loved the story. Again, I'm a storyteller and a dreamer. Yep. So like hearing stories of these entrepreneurs in the 1800s, building a whiskey brand and then going through Prohibition and like, persevering through all of that. And I just loved those stories. Like me and my wife, we did the bourbon trail, and every story was so awesome. And I just had this like story in my head, and I just loved it. And that's why I wanted my brand to be very much like a Colonel Sanders or Burt's Bees or, you've that 100%. That's exactly what it puts off. And
it's really cool.
Thank you. The Zach who did the illustration made an amazing illustration of my face. I didn't want my face on there to be like in like a cocky way. I wanted it to for the customer to know who made their sauce.
You're like Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, yeah. The old man in the rocking chair.
Like the old man.
Yeah, they
tried to take him away, bro.
They did, yeah. I
swear to God, as you get big, if they try to take your face off that, I'll come protect everything.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah. But Cracker Barrel.
Did you hear that? All y'all better not be Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, we have receipts right now. This is
fact. Got our eyes on you. Don't you ever try to rebrand? It's so smooth.
They messed up. They could have rebranded and made it like way better, but they went too simple with it, which that's a whole story. But the one in Florence, I don't know if you drove past it.
It went too simplistic, too futuristic with it.
Yes.
It's like,
yeah.
Bro, you're kind of
you have to kind of like
the whole culture.
You have to go slow with it if you're going to do that. It takes time, like little changes. But yeah, so like even Cracker Barrel was an inspiration of mine for branding. And Zach nailed my designs, created an LLC. I built an Instagram. I got a bunch of stuff trademarked. And then one of my really good friends, Kara Henry, she's now who does all my new designs, redesigning some things, slow little changes. And then she's been making all my new labels. But yeah, I launched officially. It took me about 9.5 months to get an LLC, to get FDA approved. I had to go to University of Kentucky to take a 2-day course, pass a test, create a acidified product. I had to submit all of my products that I was going to put on the market to what's called a process authority, which they are essentially like just a lab, right? So they test the product, make sure it's consumable,
yep.
And then they give me all the information back, and then I have to pretty much take all the information and give it to the FDA, and then the FDA sends somebody out to my kitchen, has to be a commercial grade kitchen, inspect everything. They watch me make the process of making the product, and then they say, here you go. And they give me an operating license. Took me about 9 to 10 months to get that all completed and done the right way.
Through this too.
Yeah, it's a pain because like Google just doesn't say like, oh, you want to start a food business, this is what you got to do. Like everyone has a different answer, and it's, you just got to ask people. You gotta
keep asking and trying, and then realizing, oh, we still got to go do this.
Yeah. So
we're kind of fumbling through it along the way too.
Yeah, you have to, because no one person truly knows the answer, unless they know the answer. But that's hard to find.
Keep working through everything.
Yeah. How that kind of backtrack a little bit. How I got all the information is I went to Lil's Bagels at the time. They were at Roebling Point. Julia, I had asked her like, "Hey, do you know what I need to do?" She introduced me to somebody else, Terry Heist, who really had my back, and she like did all this digging and information searching, and ended up being like one of those things like, well, this person, and I finally got to the right person. So it took a lot of being tossed around a lot to find the right person. And then I got in contact with him. And from there, it was, I wouldn't say simple, but it was easier. So I found the right person and gathered information along the way, officially launched. I took a little bit of everything I've learned, and I wanted to tie this back in together, because everything I did learn from Jeremy Kramer, from Ray Arnold, from Austin Dunbar, from Tina, all those people, I took one or two, if not a couple things from what I learned by working for them. Like that was my college. Yeah. That was my school. That was my education, by seeing these people that are doing it and that have done it, and they're succeeding. I learned from them. Awesome. And I learned how to, do a lot of different things from all these different people, and they're amazing. And I am forever grateful that I had the opportunity to work under them and watch them do their thing, because it was so inspiring that it made me want to do my thing. I love it.
So what are your goals here? We're going to be wrapping up in just a minute.
Yeah, sorry for
it's a long... No, we're good. Like, this is what we do this for. Sweet, I just remember you telling me on time, and I'm like, yep, I'm going to keep you right there.
Cool.
So what's the future looking like for Nate's?
Yeah, I think that,
you guys are on Amazon. What's the
Amazon?
Future
we're on
like,
Walmart. We're in about 1,000 stores. So I think the future,
admirable, man. I respect the hustle and the grind of all that you've done, because you've done that yourself.
Yes, boots on the ground. I do have a business partner, Jordan Huizenga, who came in about a year after the start of the business.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's more like back end stuff. But yeah, goals. So when I first started, the first 2 years I grew on a farm in Pioneer, Kentucky. I grew all my peppers, 48 acres. I had about 450 plants for the first 2 years. I just growing. I couldn't keep up with it. So I guess a short term goal would be to get back to that, to get back to growing everything, to be able to trace everything that goes in that bottle. But man, I have so many plans. Like nothing's out of the question. I'm currently writing a children's book. It's actually wrote. It's just being illustrated right now. I'm working on that. I want to do a capsaicin, which is the active ingredient in peppers. I want to do a capsaicin like balm for pain. So capsaicin is really great for like arthritis and pain relief as a topical.
Buddy, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going to be working on. But yeah, I don't know. I want to, Jordan and I, my business partner and I, were talking about, becoming more of a lifestyle brand. I want to tell stories. So that's all like short term, right? Like I want to tell stories, and there's a couple videos of these short films that we created. But I guess long term,
dude, it could be like you could totally do that with that brand.
Yeah, no. So there's
with the way you guys have done your branding. You're talking about?
Yeah. So 100%. I've done so.
You can spider with a lot.
Oh yeah, we can do whatever.
You can do so much with that.
And so I want to get
the talent and the personality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So we did for our taco seasoning. We did a whole storyboard of, basically it was 1800s during the gold rush, and these guys are sitting around campfire talking. They're heading west, and then somebody is telling a campfire tale, and he's saying, well, my daddy told me about the legend of Covington Gold Dust, and I think it's time that we stop going west and we start going to Covington, Kentucky to look for gold, because they're in the hills, because the taco seasoning is called Covington Gold Dust.
Yeah,
so
my buddy has a thing of it years ago.
So like that kind of stuff, right? Like basically like 1 minute movies. I love storytelling. Again, I've said it many times, but long-term vision goal. I have so many other things outside of Farmer Nate's that I want to do. So I would love to get to a point where it's running itself. So in 2026, about this, I'm going to be stepping back from doing as many like festivals and markets. This year in 2025, we were booked for over 250 events. Great friends helping me out, contractors. I had one part-time employee, over the summer. I had an intern, so we were able to do that. But now that we're in so many retail stores, we're online, we're on Amazon, we're on Walmart, I'm going to hone in on just focusing on that. It's less laborious. It doesn't cost as much, not as much time. And we have the customer base now, which I'm extremely grateful for, but that was because of that 3-4 years of boots on the ground, doing the markets.
That's what I'm doing too. Yeah.
Yep. So and we met so many people. Like, to me, relationship building is the number one thing. Building relationships. It's
hard.
Yeah. So one thing that people like know about me, it's like, hey, everybody, and like, it's because I do take the time to get personal and to, obviously there's different levels. Like some people I just know that come to buy my stuff. I'm just like, oh, hey, how's it going? But we talk, and like building relationships and ultimately building a community, right? Like these are all my neighbors. These are all people that live in my city or the city over, or, wherever. We're all in life together. And, I would love to be an influence to people and show people that they can do whatever they stay awake thinking about,
Buddy, you are. I think you 100% are that, can be that, and will do that.
Yeah.
I really
hope.
do.
Yeah.
I think you are a unique person, man. It's so funny, these black sheep stories, bro. Like all of us black sheep.
I love a good underdog story. Yeah. So something I haven't told you about, so it's not official yet, but I'll go ahead and talk about it because I think it will be. But I think in the end of October, will be in a position for an EIR, which is Entrepreneur in Residency over at NKU. Helping, there's about 6 students that are starting businesses. I'll meet with them once a week, separately, obviously, and just guide them and be support for them. So like that's something
really cool
I want to do, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to do this, because it's kind of like just another thing on my resume. But I want to help other people that have this idea and like want to start a business, but they might not feel like they are meant to be a business owner. They might not feel like they're capable of it. And like, I just want to be the person that's like, look, I have no chef background, no business background, I have no background. Right. And
You're like
just
Gary V.
I used to listen to him a lot. I like him, but yeah, I mean, no, I agree with what he says. It always talks about like, you're never too old, and your 30s, like you're still starting, like it's not too late. And I do agree with that because I was 34 now, so I was like 28, 29 when I first conceived the idea of Farmer Nate's, and I took the risk. Like that is something that's also very important, is the sacrifice and the risk. I put everything on the line, and I'm thankful for such an amazing wife and all the support and everybody, the messages that I get of people just being like, hey, thank you for not quitting. And thank you for showing me that I could do it. And like, that's what I want. Right. And that's what I want to do. I want to build this ecosystem in our neighborhoods of just awesome small business owners that are creating good things, food products that aren't trying to kill you and have dyes in them and all this crap. And like, it means so much more to eat something knowing that somebody spent a lot of time and effort to make this the best that they could.
Yeah.
Which is a reason why I'm writing a children's book. My topic on the book is going to be basically that food doesn't just appear on your plate. It's going to be like Dr. Seuss style, so like rhymey, but basically like they're the farmers. Yeah. So like there are farmers out there growing, digging, planting. And also you have grass in your backyard or you have a pot, you can too. And I want to encourage these kids
to me. I will promote that sucker. Like
crazy. It's just an illustration right now. So I don't know, man, like as far as like long-term goals and like what's the long-term, like
you kind of told me,
I have no set path. I want to do everything.
Yeah.
I want to make everything. There's no reason why I can't. I also want to help other people when they always say like, somebody puts a hand down, brings you up, then you put your hand down, bring somebody else up, and vice versa. And that's how we create community and how we create relationships and how we all can win. And
that's perfect, bro.
Yeah. So
dude, you better bring this sucker home, my man.
Sorry, I'm getting pumped.
That's what's fun about it. That's what's fun about it. So we're gonna wrap up here because this has been awesome. But I am gonna invite you back.
Okay.
Are you cool with coming back?
I have so much that we could talk about.
100%. Like I would like to have you back so we can chop it up on some of the entrepreneurial stuff, mixed in with kind of that little. Because I feel like we're wired similarly.
I
I'm
agree.
like that underdog, that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to stop me.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm not going to quit.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many times I almost quit. I didn't quit. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because he was molding and shaping me into being what I am now.
Yeah. And that's something that I say. There's actually a couple quotes and a couple news. So I'm in a lot of like write-ups, and I have a lot of publicity, like magazines. And you could probably, the one quote that I get quoted on in multiple publications is, the only way that we fail is when we quit.
Yeah.
That's the only guaranteed way. If you have to pivot. If you have to, take a break, but don't quit, because that is the sure way you're going to lose.
I love it.
So,
all right. With that,
I'll be back.
You guys gotta hit us up. Check out Farmer Nate's hot sauce on Amazon, on his website. Check out Focal Flip, guys. Check out North Star Yerba Mate as well. We're going to be having that on here to drink. We were going to bring it and have it on a drink earlier, but
I was wondering about that. I was like, I wonder if we'll have any.
Yeah, no, I was. You know what? We've been moving a bunch of stuff here lately. We got Booze and Brews coming up this Friday. So, yeah, man, thank you for coming on. This has been,
thank you for having me.
Dude, it's been great. Yeah. I love how raw and real that you were able to get with me. I don't think our story's over yet.
No, it's just starting.
I know. Yeah. I'm so fired up for that.
I mean, when was it when we saw each other at Bellevue? Like, not even a month ago. It was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just getting going.
Ready to rock and roll.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be back. We can come back and do this again. Part 2.
Sounds good. Any final words?
Just thank you for everything. And I'm super grateful for the people watching, grateful for you. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be alive. And we're going to do the best we can to
I love you, bro.
Keep pushing. So,
I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Proud
All
of
right,
you.
y'all. Go hit like, hit subscribe. Episode will be out soon. All right.
Bye.
Love y'all. We out.
Y'all.
So guys, you should like and subscribe and like hit that
Okay,
I can't get it.
okay.
I'm not used to this.
Hey guys, subscribe to my dad's video and just like the bell.
Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell.
And stay tuned. Love y'all.
100%. Love y'all. We're out.
I love that.